Okay, do I sound any different than normal? I got a different, like, really kind of miniature mic instead of the big one I kind of chonk on my hat. If you're curious, if you ever want to record, well, I mean, really, if you ever want to record yourself doing anything and talking at the same time, you are probably going to have to buy some kind of little wireless microphone. Not super pricey either. I mean, this one is like $120. Some of them run you up like 250, like even like 300, 400, depending on if it's like one of the fancier ones. But I think this one is pretty good, at least in terms of its form factor. But either way, hopefully I don't totally scuff the audio with all this. But plan for today's lift with back is pretty much simple enough, right? Back, rows, pull downs, and I'm in the wrong lane. I gotta go south. Not north. But rows, pull downs, pullovers of a few varieties, and I'm gonna try to go a little bit heftier today. So I'm making my way down to one of the metros in Worthington. They've got some real legit equipment. I keep going to the same gyms for back, like Planets and Anytime, like a YMCA, and they're cool. Like it's totally fine to hit back over there, but a little bit limited. I'm talking pull downs, seated row like normal. Every gym's gonna have those, but apart from that, it's like they've got maybe one hammer strength row, and that classic one hasn't really been doing it for me. The one where you get the seat, you're basically upright above the machine, and you're pulling the arm towards yourself like that. I don't know. It's just not doing it. It's not doing what it used to do for me. So I kind of want to switch it up. And this gym in particular does have all sorts of more old school kind of rows, some lat, like low lat focused low rows, some regular kind of or not even regular, some fancy like mid trap focus rows. So really, it's I wouldn't be surprised if this bag. Just rewind 3 seconds. I wouldn't be surprised if this back day ends up being very row focused. Now, there's going to be some pull downs, of course, too. But I feel like I've been doing so many pull downs or pullovers over the last few back days that I want to make this one maybe a little more simple, a little more row focused, which usually I don't say. Usually I'm one to say, I want to do a back day, hit my whole back, right? Top to bottom, rows, pull downs, pullovers at a couple different angles in between. Just get a full on back pump and then get out of here. But given that the last couple of back days have been very pull down focused, I think that might be my cue to make today a little more row focused. Make sure my mid traps are absolutely thrashed, along with all my Terry's major rhomboids looking stuff. All the things above your lats that make your back look cool, like when you do a lat spread. Like if you ever look up, or I mean, if you're into bodybuilding, if you're watching this video, you know what I'm talking about. When you look at somebody doing a lat spread, traps in the middle, lats on the sides, lower back coming up the bottom like a little triangle, like a Christmas tree, and then in between lats and traps is some kind of fanciness, right? I think it's your Terry's major, there's all sorts of shit. There's like 5 individual different muscles right above your shoulder blades. And by above, I mean like on top, behind. But all that's to say, I don't want to purely do one pull down and one row. I want to kind of hit it from all angles to make sure. Whoa, this guy just got ran off the road, I guess. To make sure that I hit all those little detailed muscles in the middle. And half of that is, doing kind of specifically executed reps. I mean, even, this will be my last thing I say before we get in there, but even on a seated cable row, with like, let's say you're doing straight bar, seated cable rows, you can hit your back pretty completely just by changing up your elbow position, right? So if I want to really target my lats, I might have my grip a little bit closer, keep my elbows more vertical and aligned with my body, and do more of a low focused row, right? Feel a lot of tension going through my lats. Or if I want to, some more traps, some more Terry's major kind of stuff, then I might go a little wider flare my elbows up a bit higher, and then really try to squeeze my shoulder blades together like that, almost like I'm trying to get my elbows to touch. So a lot of little details in there, but I'll try to make sure my back ends up getting as pumped as I can physically make it. So no more talking about it. Let's just go make it happen. This will be a good row. So this machine in particular is a little bit fancy because it gets, I mean, physically, if you were to have like a force reading scale, it's much heavier at the bottom and it gets lighter at the top. And that's just because of the leverages and how it's like, oh, you get it. So I'm never gonna fail right at the top. I honestly might get stuck at the bottom of one, but it is a cool strength curve, very different from like a typical cable row. So one more here, maybe two, and we'll go from there. Ooh, that was good. I think let's just leave it at those two, move on to something else. A row. This one, actually. So this is a cool row, but very trap focused. Like, this is gonna give me probably damn near zero lat activation. So like I was saying in the car, if I'm doing a row and I wanna work my lats, I might have my arms a little lower, closer to my body, and pull down here, like my hands are at belly button height. But for more kind of upper back trap sort of stuff, that's more like this. Arms a little higher, more like nipple height, and my elbows out. So that's what this machine's like. So probably a couple here, and I'll move on to maybe some more lat focused. We'll see. Damn it. All right. One more. Okay. Okay. Now let's do something a little more lat focused. 3 plates here will be good. I'll do left side first, then the right. And I mean, really just like the first 4 sets, very squeeze focused, very controlled, but still reasonably heavy. I mean, I hope squeezing sets don't get misplaced or mistook for light baby sets. That's all I want to say there. Oh my God. Okay. Okay. Oh, goodness. One more of those. And that's fucking all lats. I mean, just like I was saying, elbows in, close to the body. It's almost like a pullover if you morphed it into this kind of setup. Okay, let's go there. All right. Oh, let's do a pull down now. That was a good one. I don't mind if this is a little bit nastier, because my goal with these 2 sets, or this set and this drop set, is lat pumpage. I want a ton of blood into my lats, so I'll actually go 1 pin lighter than even this, because even though these are like kind of quicker paced reps, I still want a hard squeeze at the bottom of all of them. And then I like a wide neutral grip. It really takes my forearms out of it. Okay, I'm not done. Let's make this a rest pause. So I'm just gonna breathe a little bit and do 5 more. Okay. Small overestimation of strength. Next one will be a little lighter, but that'll be it. Back was very good today. Okay. Let's go find some mirror space. All right, back complete in not that many sets. I mean, what did that up to? Like two, what, eight-ish? Not the craziest workout, at least in terms of its volume. So let's run through a couple quick lat spreads and then scram. And this was a good choice. The energy in here today is so much better than some of the other gyms I might have popped into, which is a non-negligible component, right? I mean, if the hype is there, the odds of you having a really good lift do suddenly increase a few fold. At least I believe so. Oh, look at this. Whew. Back complete. Let's roll. You know, I almost feel like I don't even really love having a back pump, because in relation to the rest of me, when I'm pumped up, my back is almost like it's a little too much. Right? It's a little kind of like overpowering-ish. Like I'm not like to an insane degree, but like enough, you know, to the point where like if I've got a lat pump or a back pump and I do like an arm pose, my back really takes over my arms even more than usual because my back is already a little bigger unpumped. So I guess that well, it's kind of a good thing then, right? I mean, if you want to be all in proportion, then if you're ever really pumped up, wouldn't that imply that whatever muscle you have pumped would look a little bit out of proportion because it's going to be extra big? More positive way to think about it. I can't move the camera, but there's a cat sitting on the porch right in front of me. Love to see it. Gosh, dang it. But good day. Very good back pump. Very, yeah, I knew that'd be a good lift. Not just in general, but from the fact that I went to this gym specifically, a little bit more row focused, very squeezing, very intentional reps, except for that one set of underhanded rows and that the kind of burnout, and that kind of burnout on the pull downs. Like that's you know, it's just a different style of set, right? I mean, if I'm doing chest, like even just the last chest workout, reps were very different from that set of incline Smith. Very slow, very controlled, like a really long kind of eccentric. Right? Really making sure I'm getting a lot of muscular activation, like contraction, everything else. But later on, when I wanted to do some flies, and I'm really just trying to pump up my chest with as much blood as possible, I'm not so concerned with making sure every rep is like a perfectly executed 1 second hold and a 2 second eccentric. I'm really just trying to pump my chest up and doing kind of quicker reps with some kind of big stretch flies, especially at the end of a set like that, does the trick. So it's just kind of a balancing act. I wouldn't want every set of all my workouts to look exactly the same in terms of their execution. And, in thinking that, I want to make each of my sets always look a little bit different, at least in a good way, right? Different like varied, not different like some good and then some bad. That's a distinction which I definitely think needs to be made. There we go. So, other than that, plan now is just go home and eat. I've barely had jack to eat today. It's only 4:52. I think all I've had so far was I had a porterhouse that one of my friends gave me because his family's got a farm. That was really good. I put that in the sous vide and then I seared it, salt and pepper on some avocado oil, high heat for like only 30 seconds aside. Turned out fucking perfect, but I kind of had to like cut off the fat pad on the sides because that would have turned that that steak from like the 25 grams of fat that was on it after I trimmed it to probably like 60. And 35 grams of fat is not a negligible amount. 35 grams of fat is fucking damn near 400 calories or 350. So it's things to talk about or things to think about. I mean, I was really getting into that when I was doing the full day of eating in yesterday's video. I was making a pretty big deal, not for no reason, about like really being extra anal about hitting every calorie that you end up taking in, food, sauce, relish. Well, dressing, a random sweet. I mean, if you lifted a Planet Fitness, they're always handing out little Hershey's. I'm not saying you can't do it. I mean, if I were to do a Planet Fitness back day today, I might have grabbed a little a little Tootsie Roll, but at the same time, I would have whipped my phone out. 5 grams of carbs, enter it in, just so I have an accurate log of exactly how much calories went in. And if there's any discrepancy in my weight loss progression, then I'll know about it. If I wasn't tracking any of my calories, it gets so tricky to figure out exactly what's going on. Because it's like, okay, I feel like I'm dieting hard, but I'm not losing any more weight. And then, a lot of guys never get past that point. So, we can be pretty direct when it's not us. I mean, I love making this analogy a lot. If your dog is getting a little bit too soft, right? Like let's say your dog's not running around as much. Maybe all the kids left for school. It's getting cold out. He's being fed a lot. He's gonna start getting soft, right? He's bulking up in a way that he does not need to. So what are your parents gonna do if you get the family dog? Feed him less food, and then magically he's gonna be a little bit healthier shape over time because he's gonna start burning off some of that body fat, right? When it's somebody else, it's so easy to say, but when it's you, and by you I mean like when it's yourself, it's a little trickier to analyze because, I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you, it's not really fun. Like the dieting part of things is not fun or exciting at all. If you're really dieting in a way that you're making changes in your build, either bulking up or cutting down, it's actually a chore. Like you're putting in physical effort to the point where, I mean, you might be a bit uncomfortable. I know I get to that point when I'm bulking up, at least towards the end of my bulking phases, where it's like I'm eating a lot of food and I'm not really loving it. Like, it definitely is a chore, but that's the hard part. That's the challenge of it. So if you want the reward of whatever dieting phase you're going to lock yourself into, then you have to go through the difficulty of sticking to it, which really is what gives it its value. A six pack and being like a lean 180 wouldn't be very impressive if everybody on the fucking planet had it down pat, right? But the fact that not everybody, and it's not even that not everybody can do it, it's just not everybody really wants to do it. That's what makes it cool. So it puts you in the minority. I mean, let's be honest here. Let's try to come up with some reasonable statistics. What percentage of anybody? I could probably do a little study, even just on the YouTube, and post a little like community poll. And that wouldn't be like the most accurate in the world. Plus, I'm sure some people would just write the wrong answers. But I mean, let's be real here. What percentage of guys in the world, or let's just say even the States, what percentage of them are really locked into working out? Maybe maybe 5%. Like, just think about your social circle, think about your high school, think about your college, think about just wherever you work. How many guys are making a little bit of extra time for themselves to go to the gym on the regular, push themselves pretty hard, you know, break a sweat, come home and relax afterward. And that's not rhetorical. Like, in no way am I trying to make it seem like working out for an hour and a half a day or an hour a day is like absolutely nothing. Like, it should be this easy. Like, don't worry. I know that it can be a fucking challenge, especially as your life gets more complicated. You got more stuff to go on. Anybody in, more of my older demographic, if you got little chitlins running around, I mean, I can really only imagine what kind of hit that's like to, like, your value system and your scheduling of everything. Like, I'm not trying to make light of that, but there is a value in the guys who figure out how to make it work. And that's, apart from looking at somebody who's in a very similar situation to you, where you can use their approach and their tips as like a really good guide, for the most part, it's kind of a challenge that's in your own head, and by in your own head, I mean, like, for you to figure out for yourself, right? You're the only guy with your exact day schedule. You're the only guy with your exact value system and your, like, motivation and everything else. So it's up to you to figure out what approach is going to work best, where at the end of the day, you do have time and you do have, like, the internal motivation and kind of drive to make some of this stuff happen, even if it's a little bit uncomfortable, but that's not for me to tell you, right? That's for you to kind of have a little one-on-one with you and think, okay, and I could probably start waking up a little bit earlier, get some cardio in a couple times a week. I probably would feel a little bit better. And not even just would, it's going to improve your training. Your metabolism is going to be better. Your digestion is going to be better. Your overall just, like, feeling of, I don't want to say youthfulness, but kind of just energy is going to be better. I mean, look at the 60-year-old dude who still goes to his YMCA and, like, does 30 minutes on the treadmill, swims for 45 minutes or 20 minutes or whatever, versus, the guy who doesn't. And I don't want to call anybody out if they're, I mean, that's probably one of the most pretentious things anybody who's not a bit older could say, is like, oh, why can't you just work out, whatever? But I mean, the numbers are there, right? The more you move around, well, you get the gist, right? You get the gist. I don't want to, unless I keep ranting on and on about it, I don't want to turn this into a cardio card talk. But all I'm trying to say there is, there's the guys who balance it out, and then the guys who kind of just wish they could balance it out. There's a cool, I just watched a bunch of the Steve Jobs movies, like the one where it's, I feel so bad I don't know a ton of actors' names. Like, I know them, but I can't, like, just name drop them. But the one where Magneto is Steve Jobs, and then it's and then one when he's younger, like the whole upbringing. But so after watching those two, all my feed is, like, full of old like Steve Jobs shit. But one of them is, like, it's this little quote where he's getting into, like, that's what separates the guys who make things happen versus the guys who just wish that they could. It's just a few small steps which can start a little bit of a chain reaction. But now I'm just getting into basic, cliche motivational rants. So plan for tonight's meal: probably half a pound of ground beef that I've got thawed in the fridge, a little bit of that leftover Uncle Ben's rice, because I microwaved 3.5 servings and I've only had 2 servings of it, or no, 2.5 servings of it, so I've got 1 serving left. So there's 55 grams of carbs worth of rice in a little Tupperware waiting for me to reheat it. Another liter of, actually, I guess I can finish this liter of water. I got a bit left in my little jug. I might, I'll probably just edit this video for tomorrow, save myself some time, so when I wake up and do cardio, all I got to worry about is making sure I don't overshoot my calorie deficit, and then keep this fat loss train moving. at a high rate of speed. I'm talking bullet train. So tomorrow's lift is going to be arms. I might end up making it a super setting kind of workout. Tricep, bicep, back and forth until they're fully pumped. So I guess we'll just have to see what happens then. But until then, try to work off some of those extra sweets that you had during Halloween. And don't lie to me. I know you had a couple. We all did. But, that's on you now. So I'll see you then.